Good morning, Liz. Hi, this is Two Tarts on a Journey, and oh my God, it's a beautiful day here on the Gold Coast. Liz, how are you?
Good morning, everyone. It's sunny. It was a fresh 6 degrees down here in Launceston this morning, but my feet are a bit cold, but the sun's out. So
Oh,
that's where I'm
wow.
at. Yep.
Wow. Oh, that sounds good. So, you know, um, today, sometimes it's really difficult to kind of latch on to a topic or something that's happening out there specifically, um, and, to talk about that for 30 minutes or however. But today I'd like to talk about situations, and I don't know about you, but I'd like to talk about situations that drag you or yank you out of your zen, and it feels as if, I mean, we know that when something pulls us out of and it's not our comfort, it's our zen, it's our place where we're peaceful, where we're functioning at really exceptional levels. And then something comes along, ding, 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 and boom, it knocks us. It might be a situation, it might be somebody call and say, oh my God, you'll never guess what's happened. And next thing you're down that rabbit hole. So it would be really interesting to talk. And I think these days, I think we were talking not long ago about how um, people on social media can be doing something and talking about something that they are passionate about and that they are doing, and then people come people come along in the content in the comments who don't even know you but decide to just
Tarnish you in
denigrate
so many ways, I guess.
denigrate and criticize and do all that. Now, I think I have a lot of bots come onto my, um, trying to get me to. So it's fraud. Come onto my work, the work social media, on the messages, and just say how I'm going to be banned and blah blah blah. But I don't get the comments yet. but the ones where click on this and you can pay this fine or whatever. And what amuses me, and I'll just do this for 2 seconds, what amuses me is that the social media management can jump on something if it's not appropriate, or whatever social media platform it is, if it's not relevant, if it's not following the rules. But I must have put, in the last month, I must have put about 30 complaints in for harassment, because it's so blatant. I don't want to be annoyed by this, and nothing's done. So that's another thing that just really interests me, is how come you can. I've got a partner who is he likes to he likes to have good solid chats. So he gets banned occasionally, but immediately he might put an inappropriate comment or word, not inappropriate for us, but inappropriate for the rules, and immediately is banned. So
That speaks volumes to where we
it's
are in
duality,
this.
isn't it? It's
Yeah, well, it
complicity in
is
it.
in some point, but it speaks volumes to where we're going energetically now. Because if you can allow these people on there to be able to do that, it's still creating fear,
Yeah.
it's creating disconnection amongst people. So other
Yes.
people are seeing that and just assuming that that's correct. So all I can see is all these things are just another means to create disconnect between humans and to keep that fear, the violence, the fighting, and all that going, because
Yeah.
we know that media is such a powerful platform for that to happen and the energy behind it. So, to me, it makes a lot of sense that that's why it's happening. And I guess sometimes that's why you see many of us go, oh, I'm having a break from, Facebook or something like that because of the negativity and what you see. But unfortunately for you and me and many of us, we have businesses and that's the way we can get the greatest number.
Yeah.
But it's really being able to disconnect from those and not pulling your energy into that to keep that storyline going. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all a dense energy, isn't it?
It is. I think, some of the ideas that people have, and I know a lot of them are bots, which is fine, but there's some people on the other hand who do, they must be intelligent to do what they do. It'd be great to see them turn their skills to something that's positive and uplifting, whether it is or not. But I often think, what a waste! What a waste of creativity.
But they probably can't see that, unfortunately. So, from their
Yeah,
perspective, they're coming from their highest place because they just don't have the awareness that there's anything else. So, I guess for them, it is truth, you
yes,
know.
yeah, and um, it's all, it all concerns a situation or people or something that creep into our life and and distract our energy to somewhere lower than where it is resonating. If we're just in the flow doing something, and then, as I said before, something comes along and takes our notice, and our energy's drawn over here to think, oh my gosh, and as soon as we're drawn into that energy of, I guess it takes us towards negativity. It's just so interesting what happens to the rest of our body. So,
Mm.
we've talked about this before, and it's called energy entanglement. I love that. I love it. So let's talk about energy entanglement. Ooh, and what can be, what we can do. And when I think about kind of, okay, well, what's the first thing that we could do? We this is the core of all of our podcasts, isn't it? Staying centered and being present in the body, getting out on the grass and putting our feet on the ground. That brings us to a place of reason and a place of critical thinking, looking critically at the situation and then considering and making a decision. Is it worth me entangling my energy in? Or do I leave and unravel myself from that and go back to my flow?
Well,
Mm.
I think there lies probably the necessity to, as you say, find some stillness. But in order to be able to even do that, we need to be consciously aware of what's going on around us and finding stillness so we can go, oh, what is my body doing and how's it reacting, instead of just being caught up. Because what I am finding and listening to is that because these energies are coming so hard and fast now, this dense energy, if you'd like to call it the 3D, is getting quite dense. And I'm saying that because we on this path are getting lighter. So obviously it's feeling denser.
Yeah.
So to be pulled into that, sometimes it happens without awareness
Mm.
because as you see this energy entanglement, you walk into a situation and it automatically engulfs you because it's such a strong energy. And then you find that you're already playing out in whether it judging people or what, just having conversations to go with the flow or whatever. So be able to have that awareness and go, wow, this doesn't feel good. And that's that alignment we've talked about, but this doesn't feel good. Even if you don't know, sometimes you might get a headache, a nauseated feeling, something. If we can tap into that and go, okay, what is that? And then be able to have that awareness to that
Yeah.
entanglement, then
Yeah.
we can go, okay, I've
Yes.
got the awareness. Now let me go and get my feet on the grass because that's where I might be able to disentangle myself
Yeah.
in order to be able to get a little bit more clarity. But I think having that recognition that I'm not feeling good in this moment is where we need to be able to disentangle us from that.
It's the key, isn't it? It's the key. So, I guess it comes back to no matter, I suppose, what is happening in it, what is happening, whatever's happening in our life, is to make it an absolute priority to breathe and to focus on the breath. As soon as we focus on the breath, then we focus on the inner body and the sensations in our body. And just a simple question: am I here? Am I present? I feel my feet on the ground. It's so, so powerful. I'm only just thinking of this in the moment and just thinking it is so powerful. If we could make that a priority. Sometimes my priority in the morning is, I wonder what I'm having for breakfast this morning. You know what I mean? Before I think of, am I present? Am I here? Because it's my belly that's mouthing off and making the noise. What am I having for breakfast? Trying to do that planning for the day. It's like, stop.
Yeah, and even when you're saying coming back to breath, when we come back to breath and come in to ourselves, we can actually tap into the emotion of what we may be feeling in that moment instead of pushing it away. Now, that emotion is incredibly powerful for us moving through a situation or recognizing that we may be in something or standing in something or sitting in something that is not serving us. Has it brought up a bit of anger? Is there grief? Is there sadness? And just actually feeling that and going, okay, why am I feeling that?
Mm.
Because that might give us a little bit more insight as to how it's not serving you and why you would be feeling grief or sadness from a comment in a certain situation.
Yeah.
And that can come back, as you said, from the breath and just instead of just getting angry and flying off the handle but not knowing why. I think it's all of those things are so important, being consciously aware,
Yeah.
coming into the present, breathing, feeling into what's there and not dismissing it, and then allowing just that's going to bring that awareness even more to focus to be able to move through that and see that perhaps that energy entanglement is not what's serving me.
Absolutely. Oh, I like that. I like that. And I, if we perhaps did that little process 3 or 4 times a day, is just, can I feel my feet on the ground? Can I feel the breath coming into my body? Can I feel the sensations in my body? If we did that 3 or 4 times a day, well, how long does that take? 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds? Um, I wonder how that would impact our experience.
Well, tenfold, because I can only see when you were saying that it's going to take us more into an observer
Yeah,
role because we've stopped, which means we're out of that um, cause and reaction, which creates situations
yeah,
that may not be to ours. So if we can, and we talked about previously in other things of stepping back and observing a situation. So with all those simple techniques that you just said,
mm,
that can bring us into the observer. So then we can move forward from uh, a more positive way instead of that reaction of being caught up in it at the moment. Have I said that right?
yeah, yeah. And then remembering too that we on the highest level of consciousness, we are the creators of our experience. It's the thoughts and the unconscious thoughts that create the experience, but it's the observable higher consciousness that is weaving those lower consciousness thoughts into experiences for us to observe and go, is that what I'm thinking? I like that. I like that because I often will hear someone talking about or telling me about a situation that they're in, and then it's I had a beautiful young man the other day and telling me about these situations, and this, because he was in that receptive place, I just said to him, if that was your friend who was going through that, and if you knew while you were listening to him that he was creating his experience, then what would he have to be thinking? So all of a sudden it was just like he just shook his head and he goes, oh, you're talking about me. And he said, what would I have to think to have that thought woven into an experience so that I can be right here having a question asked and see what belief that is that's emitting those thoughts. Oh, and he goes, oh, okay, let's find the belief, because I'm not believing that I'm enough. It was so, I love it when someone that young will come along and just bang, 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 get it, And so I'm finding with so many of these young people, these young millennials, are they called? Or Gen Zs or whatever they're labelled with. Oh my God, some of them are so, so smart. And they don't get as entangled in things as we did. I don't know whether they don't have those real dense kind of belief systems.
No, because they're coming in lighter.
Yeah.
And and that's the thing, isn't it? That's such strong words to realize that, and that in itself is to break a programming that our words, thoughts, and actions create our reality. And the more we think about them, the more we talk about them, we're embedding them.
Yes.
We're making them into a belief, into a pattern. But we can. I mean, I was listening to Billy Carson this morning, who I absolutely love, with Alex on a podcast, and they're talking about that and how it actually alters the DNA. So if you have affirmations or you start changing your words, and you can do it, I think they said for 30 days, it's been scientifically proven, you will change that patterning and belief system and the DNA attached to that. So there's a lot of power to say that, well, if we can alter that and change our reality from that, of course, if I'm sitting in depression, I'm saying, oh, life's tough, that's what's going to continually come to me because I'm reprogramming it daily. It's a belief, reinforcing it.
Yeah.
So, it is a big thing for the older generation because it's what we've done. But I think for the younger ones, when you say it, they just go, yeah, well, that makes perfect sense that you creating your reality from what you're saying. If you go and do something different, you're going to get that. Like,
I love the way they think. It's just it's mind-boggling to me. It's just mind-boggling that we are so ensconced and so embedded in that mud of the way we were programmed. Because I think there were so many aspects of life. Like for me, it was there was religion, there was culture, there was background, you know, the background of war and all of those things that were just initiated from fear and embedded with fear into the culture, into the family, into
Yeah.
you know everything around us. So
That's what we chose to come in and
we
change, which
did,
is
we
allowing
did,
these younger ones that are already coming in with that,
yeah,
to be able to see that. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, as we said before, it's certainly not an easy journey, but it will be worth it. It
Oh,
is worth it.
yeah. I
It
think
is
it's
worth it.
worth, you know, I think it's worth it. Even though, and I think too that it's committing, for me, I have to commit myself daily to
Oh,
doing that presence work and
yep.
just for my own sanity, my own, well, not my own sanity, because I don't have a difficult life, but just for my own grounding. And I very easily get distracted, really, really easily. And not necessarily, and on the surface, I get distracted. I can be reading a sentence in a book. I'll get distracted by a word and then go, oh, I'll go and do that. And then I'll end up within 5 minutes, I've done five other things and I've got no idea that I was reading a book. So
Yep.
that kind of that, and I'm very aware of my behavior like that. But that constantly reminds me of the possibility that I can create in my life. I can create chaos really easily. So it's just like it sounds such trivial little stuff where I'm constantly being distracted. Like Tony always says, "Oh, look, shiny things, shiny." But it's a constant reminder to me of to to keep my feet on the ground. Otherwise, the big things I do would never eventuate because I'd be fluffing around trying to do a million things and never getting anywhere.
Well, as we said, that's why it's so important to be present and not be caught up in what happened yesterday or what needs to
Yeah,
happen tomorrow, because we miss all those beautiful opportunities that
yeah,
are there before us. And
yeah,
that's where that, as we said, putting your feet on the ground, doing the breath work, tapping into the sensations or emotions, bringing you back to the present so you can actually go, okay, what is it I need to do from this point, and not from the thought that you had 5 minutes before doing that was going to take you on a different trajectory.
yes, yeah. And I think about the beautiful retreats that you are planning that offer people the opportunity to do that breath work, do that presence work, do the beautiful activities around just around lifting, lifting and elevating your consciousness. I love them. When's your next one?
It's on the 4th and 7th of April
Ooh,
at the Bay of Fires in Tasmania.
wow.
We have a rather large B&B at St Helens. So yeah, we're going to be doing lots of things. The house actually has a magnesium pool, which is heated. So that in itself for me would be perfect today. But yeah, just
That's amazing. Oh,
drumming, cacao, yoga, swims.
sounds so good. And then how many cacao ceremonies do you do? Do you just have the one or?
For the weekend,
Yeah,
usually just the one. Um, gosh, I think we just have it on maybe on the second night with the drumming. It depends on what we've organized. We
yeah,
aren't actually, we have an idea of what we're doing, but
yeah,
we actually tap into the energies and just see what feels right. So we're not so structured that we're not reading the room or what people are needing.
yeah,
So we sort of do alter a little bit, which I absolutely love because it just gives you more of that free flowing
yeah.
ability to, yeah, to go with it. But there'll be just the one sacred cacao ceremony at this one. So yeah, gotta
Thank you
love
for
a bit of
listening.
cacao.
Oh, I love cacao. It's beautiful.
It's such a heart opener. It's just beautiful.
It
For
is, isn't it?
anyone that gets an opportunity to go to a cacao ceremony, just yeah, do yourselves a favor. It's just beautiful.
They are.
You
Oh,
can really tap into the energy of the plant.
yeah, yeah. I love them. Well, on that, I think we might wrap this up. It feels like a beautiful balloon, and we're just tying the end of it with that little container with all of that beautiful um, conversation. And I love these conversations because it can just perhaps give people a little thread to hang on, just to follow. Oh, I did, oh gosh, I think like that, or I often do that. But I find that when we're talking, when you'll mention something and then be like, oh, that's a little thread for me to hang on to.
Absolutely. And just as I've said before, just these energies are really intense, and there is a lot of energy entanglement going on at the moment. But
Yes,
just really, these conversations, whether it's ours or anyone's, is so important just to know that you're not alone, that we are navigating it. Every one of us are navigating it
yes.
to get our vibration higher and move above it. So just tapping into a higher energy conversation is just going to set you up for you starting your day anyway in
Oh,
a much
absolutely.
more positive
Absolutely.
state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And knowing that we are actually sovereign beings. We've through the years of programming and everything else, we've slowly given away our sovereignty and
Mm,
given away our power. So
mm.
we're on our way to gathering it back in. And the
Oh,
more and more we gather it in, the higher and higher we go.
yeah.
So in our consciousness and in our
Mm,
frequency. So
yeah.
I'm keeping on, everybody.
Just tap into what's aligned with you and what feels right. If it doesn't feel right, gone are the days that you have to do it just because you're told to. If it doesn't feel right, you're being shown that for a reason. Have a look and see
Yes.
what the next opportunity is to take it somewhere else. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, you have a wonderful day, and we'll get together again very soon.
You too. And everyone else out there, just go forth, breathe,
Yes.
feet on the ground.
Yeah, feet on the ground, breathing. Am I present? Okay.
Absolutely.